I hope you guys don't mind if I record this just for posterity. Thanks everyone for coming. I'm really pleased that we've got a, oh wait, I guess that's a good way for us to
That's
see it,
fine.
right? Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I'm confused with it. Can you folks on the remote hear okay?
The sound is perfect. And if you want to make me a co-host, I can let people in so you don't have to keep getting up from your chair. It's Miranda from the Waitsfield
Awesome.
Farmers Market.
Thank you so much. Who is this?
It's Miranda from the Waitsfield.
Oh, hi,
Farmers
Miranda. I gotta do this share. Wait, oh, I gotta do it up here. That's right. Make host. Thank you so much for doing that. Good idea. Trained professional. I really appreciate all of you folks coming today. And I'm a little punchy after the annual meeting last night. I was like, it went really well, and I was really had such a great turnout for that. And to have this happening just really makes me feel good, because the retail thing has been a challenge, as a lot of us know, for a really long time. And I just want so much for this the retail group to just coordinate more and work and collaborate more than we have in the past. And I think that there's just this, obviously the number of people that are showing up shows that there's interest in that. I think there's a lot of new blood here that doesn't have a lot of the hangups that were in the baggage that was here previously. And so I'm really just heartened, to see that. And I created an agenda. I sent it out late last night, and hopefully people got it. And I really want to try to keep this focused, and with the goal of just encouraging collaboration, discussing opportunities. I want to specifically talk about the co-op program in 7 days, and then just set up a foundation for what this council, or whatever we want to call it, does going forward, and whether there's an interest in keeping it going, and how to structure it and make it work and be efficient and get things done and not be a pain in the ass, because the last thing I need in my world is another standing meeting. So and I think that you guys could probably all agree with that. So with that, I thought it would be best if we could just kind of go around the room and introduce ourselves. Folks on Zoom, you want to start? Miranda?
Hi, I'm Miranda Dalton, and I am the Waitsfield Farmers Market Manager. So I'm seasonal retail for the community.
Excellent. And Sam Rosenberg?
Yep. Hold on.
Sam is just a computer. He's not a human being.
I'm trying to work and do this too. Oh, I'm Sam Rosenberg. I'm owner of the local with the wine and beer shop over in Middlesex. Same building as Red Hen over here.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, Sam. Heidi from Whippletree, you want to say hi?
She may be.
Yeah, Heidi, that's Heidi from Whippletree, and Aaron Shea from Valley Mead across the street. Say hi, Aaron. We're not going to get him. And Brian, you want to say hi, Brian?
Good morning. Hi, I'm Brian from Inkling's Children's Books.
Excellent. And let's start around the room over here.
Hi, I'm Andrea, Valley Mead Dispensary. Morning, everybody.
I'm Josh from Fifth Quarter Butcher Shop.
Hi, I'm Jordan with Mad River Taste Buds. I'm Rachel at Long Cut Farmstead. Yvonne the Collection. Anne Marie Product Think Tank.
Spencer at Salt and Sand Studios.
I'm Eric from the Chamber.
Hey Eric, I finally figured out how to work my phone. This is Aaron with Valley Mead.
Excellent. Hi, Aaron.
I'm Pam from Long Cut.
Hi, this is Per from Blue Sage Dispensary. Nice to meet you guys.
Well, thanks so much, everyone, for coming. And as I said, just kind of going over the rationale for the reason for why we were hoping to get together here. The first thing that I wanted to talk about, was kind of the time sensitive thing, which is the co-op ad opportunity in 7 days. Have people had a chance to take a look at the link that I provided and with the information? No, okay.
I did, and I wanted to know how it compared to if we just went to 7 days, because you said that.
Yeah.
Chamber was.
Yeah, so the question is about the value of the pricing of the ads. It's a little convoluted because basically you're getting a 12-time rate as opposed to a one-time rate for the full page. So we're getting, by buying a full page, it's a little less, and by the fact that we're doing 12, a commitment of 12 and doing it once a month, that gets it down too. In terms of the size, it's a little weird because the way that I have structured it is that the chamber would subsidize it by buying a quarter of the ad. And that would be the overarching umbrella to lure, this is why you should come here, come for the mountain, stay for the valley, and then have the individual ads in there. So when it's a quarter or an eighth of a page, it's not a quarter of an eighth of the page, it's a quarter or an eighth of our ad.
Right.
So I don't want to get into that. It's a better value than you would have gotten yourself.
Right, so in other words, the chamber is subsidizing.
Yes.
As opposed to Stowe and Woodstock where we're just contributing.
Well, it's not necessarily subsidizing. I guess it's semantics, really. It's like I'm buying 25% of it to create that umbrella and have that. And for me, the value to you folks is that it's not just a standalone ad, that you're part of something bigger that's more.
It's an ad for the valley.
For the valley, exactly.
An ad for the valley that we can then piggyback on.
Correct. And the idea of this is that we just, as I've talked to retailers, that we need to make this a shopping destination, and it's not. And this is just one basic low-hanging fruit that I feel like we could do and use this as our template for doing more later on. And also just bringing everyone together to start working
And
together.
I think we could all agree that 7 days is an incredibly valuable tool. For marketing, advertising, the forefront of what's going on in Vermont. So that's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, and that's why I selected it, and that's what people have talked about. I mean, we've done some things, I looked into doing it with VPR and doing underwriting, but it's hard, you can't do a co-op thing like that. And I wanted to give the opportunity to retailers like you folks to be able to participate. And
Does it also go onto the website?
it does not, that's a separate thing.
I think the website is probably more valuable.
Mhm. And that's something we can
than the
definitely
physical
take a
thing
look
these
at.
days.
What about the email newsletter?
Yeah.
I have not looked into it. Like I said, I'm reluctant to say this because I'm like a marketing guy, like that's my background. And I'm not really super sold on print advertising. I do believe it there. I think it's a good spot to be. For me, a lot of this is raising awareness about our community and showing us as a unified place. And we need that desperately. And I don't know of another way to do that. And, I'm more inclined to going digital as well. But
I mean, when was the last time any of us picked up a physical 7 days?
I pick it up every week. And I'm a young reader. I'm 29. And one thing I'd like to comment is, Eric, it'd be really interesting if they like to do package deals with digital ads. It would be great if we could just get a chamber digital ad and then it linked to the chamber website, especially if we're doing this huge package for 12 months, if they could write in something and then just direct to the chamber website. We don't need individual ads on our digital ad. But I do think the website gets a lot of traffic, more so, but I do think of all of the print newspapers, people are reading 7 days.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, Miranda. When I spoke with them, the world has changed and they barely return my phone calls. And
Too busy.
there's no cutting deals.
Going on.
You gotta get them on the Slack channel.
What's that?
Get them on their Slack channel.
Oh, okay. So. I wanted to just, like I said, there's nothing that we really need to talk about. I will look into the digital end of that. And also would like to try to just gauge from this group, are there people that are interested? I think I have 2 folks that are interested in doing it. Are there,
Can you give
What
us
is
a
the
whole
cost?
rundown?
yes, and I don't.
Stop there.
I don't know if the
Pull it
computer
up.
in front of me.
Pull it up.
That's okay. I have my computer over there.
Share it on the screen.
Yes, I guess I could do that. All right.
Oh, you want me to share that page?
Yeah, would you mind doing that? You know where it is, right? There was
Yep,
a
I
link
just
that
had
I
the link
sent-
up.
Yeah. Figured I would have gotten better at this by now.
Can you see that, or do I need to like make it bigger?
That I sent previously.
No, that's readable.
Yeah.
Are you looking, you want me to scroll to the pricing?
Yeah, there you go. So. What the chamber would be doing is creating the overarching ad. And we would be the sole invoicer, like people, they would invoice the chamber. That's the only way they would do this, so I have to deal with you folks in getting paid and making sure the ads come in. So there's a lot involved in that. I really want to get commitments from people to do it for 12 months or 6 months, of maybe splitting it if people wanted to do that. But a quarter page ad would be $320 a month times 12 is $3,800 annually. 8th page, $165 a month, $1,920 annually. One of my goals of this thing was having, doing this in a way that you can plan your advertising budgets and know what you're doing and not have it be surprises. The last thing I want to do is, and I'm, the last 4 or 5 years since I've been working here, the last minute, hey, let's do an ad for Christmas. I am just not playing that game, and it doesn't work. Marketing is about doing things consistently and doing them well and having a plan in place. And that's what I'm trying to do with this, so that you guys can plan as well.
So can you break that down for me? What would we be paying?
$320 a month for a quarter page, or $165 a month for an 1/8 of the page.
So is the thought that it's like the chamber in the middle and then we're sort of like.
More up on chamber on top, and similar to what we've done, and this is a good example of it here. I don't have it here yet, didn't bring it. The court, basically, it would be on top, it would be Mad River Valley, come for the mountains, stay for the valley a little bit, and we can change it up seasonally or on a monthly basis of what's going on, maybe bullet some events or things like that. And then have the 4 or 8 blocks underneath it.
Okay,
With a kind of a border around it to just tie it all together.
yeah.
It would run as a full page?
It would run as a full page, yes.
And do you need a minimum commitment of retailers?
Yes, and what I'm imagining is we could do it for, and this is something I want to talk to you folks about, is like, do we want to open it up to restaurants? Do we want it to be more of an encompassing thing? Because the way I view this is Chittenden County and Vermont generally. And getting people, encouraging people to come here for the day, for whether for outdoor recreation or for skiing, hiking, biking, whatever it is, foliaging. That the suggestion that there's all sorts of other things to do here.
Well, there's a lot of things that bring people to the valleys in general, Lawson's, Mad Taco. Canteen,
And they might not be planning on
They might
shopping.
not be planning on shopping, but it can be the type of thing where it's like, a lot of businesses are right next to those restaurants, so.
Yep.
it's
That
trying to,
was-
like partner and dovetail on, that low hanging fruit of what's really driving people to come here and how can we expose them to why it's cool to pop in the store next door,
Right.
And would there be the greater number of participants, would it decrease the share of price?
No.
That's
Because
your 12,
that's
that's not by
the-
12, there's 12 slots, basically, is what you're
Right.
saying.
There's,
Or 24.
there's 8 slots.
Oh, 8 slots.
Right.
But
And-
it's
and-
more a quarter, sorry, it's more 8th page.
Yeah, and I'm just,
Quarter page.
But if 4 people did a quarter, we're.
Exactly, thank you.
Or
And
maybe,
you don't have to commit to the
So-
whole year, you just, like,
As an individual business,
yeah,
I would like you to at least do for 6 months.
Yeah.
I just don't wanna get into having.
well, I'm just
chase
thinking, if you
people
only have
down.
8 spots, like, you could easily fill that, and I think if everybody.
And that's what I'm sort of, that's what I'm sort of.
Realize how small our budgets are for advertising.
So one second, what?
with the dispensary, we've got this requirement from the Cannabis Control Board to have this big warning ad. I don't know if you guys did it, but that edition, like, right when the market opened, that 7 Days did. And a ton of us put ads in and we all got warning letters. 7 Days didn't even realize at that point their guidelines. But so for like a quarter-page ad, half of it's just a warning. So I don't know if in your discussion, they know that any.
We have not gotten into
Okay.
it that, in that detail at
There's been
all.
some things that have changed. I think that if it's dependent upon how things are written in the ad, I think a simple business listing with your
Might
name,
not be
location,
required.
business hours is totally fine,
Yeah,
you know,
I
it
know
doesn't
7 Days is
say-
something like a.
we don't say cannabis dispensary, or if you
Yeah.
just put Blue Sage dispensary or Valley Meat dispensary in your
Yeah.
location and your simple business listing, that's completely, I think.
Without warning.
Without warning, and there is a contact, I think, at 7 Days who is up in the know now on the
Yeah.
recent regulation.
That is correct, Andrea. They changed the rules. As long as you're not using it to sell products, you're using it as brand and store information, then they're generally okay with it. And a few of the guys in Burlington are already doing it.
Cause I've seen dispensary ads in
Yeah, yeah.
7 Days. So,
Can we open the discussion to having the header be something a little bit divergent from the basic?
Absolutely.
So it would be like, come for the retail, stay for the fun, or, I don't know, you know, just tweak it somehow
Yep.
so that it's not.
I am absolutely not
Just,
married to what we're doing creatively. That being said, again, from my marketing background, the last thing we wanna do is market by committee. We don't wanna do that. I think what I wanna make sure that we settle on something that works and that we stick to it and that we commit to doing that for a year and do it. And I think that we can change it up.
I guess my part
Seasonally.
is I don't wanna highlight them, maybe not highlight the mountains, cause it's more about.
Understood.
Sugar Rush can do their own.
Yeah, it's sort of like, let's get it.
Yeah.
that's already
Yeah.
given, like.
No, I
Right.
think something, yeah, market and messaging around, the destination, best kept secret, something along the lines of like, come discover.
For me,
Yeah,
the
something about
most
discovery.
important thing is that logo. That's,
Yes.
what the messaging is. I am totally, whatever, we can do that, and I think if we can have a few people that are interested in it.
How about something like discover all the fun
Mhm.
in the Mad River Valley? So it's like, it's not just about recreation,
Yeah.
that it kind of highlights that,
Right, cause you
Yeah.
guys. are
leave
people-
some time for all the other stuff to step into some other
You're
fun places.
people who are not skiers or not pursuing these sort of.
Or mountain
outdoor- Right, they're
bikers.
just gonna glaze over it if you're thinking, mountain destination and, yeah.
Yeah, the thing that, that I keep going back to is, and I keep thinking about this, and I hate even saying it, but I'm gonna say it. When you look at stuff, yeah, I'm saying the S word, and,
Gotta do it.
what's that?
You gotta do it.
Yeah, people go, or Woodstock, or Manchester, those places. People from Chittenden County don't know we exist.
Yeah.
And the reason that they come is there's very few businesses that they're gonna come for. The ski areas, yes. But I'm talking outside of ski season, like I don't even wanna think the ski season is the ski season. For me, it's more about if people come here, they go to Stowe because they're gonna do the bike path, and then they're gonna get a cup of coffee, and then they go out for lunch, and they're gonna go, go shopping and go do a couple of things. We don't have that draw. And our draw is diverse, and it's mountain biking, it's hiking, it's
The river.
the river, the events, and then there are the Lawsons, and then there's the, you know, things like the Roundup, like those people came for things like that. For me, like, I send so many people to you, Rachel, up at the farmstead, because they come in here and they wanna go for a drive. That's the number 3 question I get is, what, show me where to go for a drive. I'm like, you go out to the common where it is freaking gorgeous out there, and it's amazing to get there, and then when you get there, there's this amazing, super fun store that is so cool, and they're blown away by that. But
What's the number 1 question you get? And
can I use your
where's the
bathroom?
bathroom? I thought it was gonna be
number 2
Right,
question.
right.
And so but my point is that that's what people are actively doing something.
Yeah.
They're not coming here to go to Von Trapp Farmstead. They're going here because they want to go for a drive and see the beautiful sights. They want to go to Warren Falls or something like that, you know, that's what they're doing. So I'm nervous about getting away from what it is that draws people here. The outdoor recreation is what draws people here, but we want to.
Right, but what I'm saying is highlight the outdoor recreation and go and make it more inclusive of, if you're just doing the outdoor recreation, you're missing all this fun.
I think
Right.
another very simple line, like, there's more to do in the Madden Valley.
But that's something we can definitely talk about for sure. I hear all that, and we can do that. Can I get a sense of, like, and this is not a commitment right now, who is interested in this? I just want to gauge it. So a lot of.
The pricing is hard.
I understand.
I'd be much more interested if it was covering the digital as well, because I don't think people coming here pick up physical things. I mean, we've seen that with the Valley Guide. I've never had anybody say to me they found us through the Valley Guide.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's the thing, is I hear it from different people. Yeah, I mean, and again, I hear different things from different people.
Congratulations, you're now.
And what I will tell you is that no one walks out of here without. They don't, they grab the Discovery map and they grab the Four Seasons guide. Like 90% will walk out with that.
Well, also for us, I can only tell you 80% of what I've had this summer has been from Chicken County.
There you go.
Because if you search for glass blowing classes, we're the only thing that comes up.
That's good to know.
Eric, can I ask you a question about just, I think, the overall financing for this? I mean, I have 2 thoughts here. I want to say everything. The first is, you had mentioned later on potentially talking about setting up some sort of fund in which we're all buying into to help finance this. I guess my first question is the chamber's financing of this coming from our regular chamber fees, or are we thinking about this as a additional buy-in from us plus these ads?
No, this is the chamber's commitment that paying for 25% of the ads is coming from our general budget. I'm nutty about semantics.
Yeah.
It's not fees, it's not dues, it's membership and benefits.
Sorry. And then, so I think my
Yeah,
second.
so your average, the $165 or $320, that's above and beyond what you're paying. I have allocated chamber budget to pay for this. I'm not looking for more. And frankly, this is a stretch for the chamber. We have $145,000, $150,000 budget, and it's wicked lean. And I'm making this fit because I really want to make it happen. I will feel a lot better that because the budget that I did for FY25 is based on a 10% increase in membership. And I feel good about that, especially after last night. But I really want you to be aware, like, I need help with membership. Like, if there are retailers out there that aren't members, I want you to encourage them to do it. And, you know, we're gonna be doing a renewed effort on that. As we get new members, and I said this last night, if I had an extra $10,000 in my budget, or $20,000, or $50,000, or $100,000, I know exactly what I would be doing with it, and it's putting it in the marketplace. Absolutely, and that's what my goal is, to get things going with this.
Yeah, and so I guess my second question, and then I understand that money's tight with everybody, is I think for me, one thing I'd love to see from this is a more, and I think you're getting at this, but I want to just flip it up to the larger thing, is a more concentrated concept of where we're spending our advertising dollars. I mean, there's a quick math at $1,700 for 12 times, that's $20,000 across the board. That's a lot of people buying in. Then on top of that, you know, the free map is a couple $100 a year per person who advertises on that. The Valley Guide can again be, you know, up to $700-800 a year per person. And then we're looking at these additional fees. I think to me, I think this is a great idea, but if I'm looking holistically at it, the concept of committing, you know, $2,000 a year on top of what we're already spending is a potentially daunting thing. And so I think one thing I love to see is that retailers, if we got together and, you know, everyone was doing a buy-in for these larger programs, and so that we could kind of have these concerted efforts rather than, you know, having somebody be like, well, can you give me $1,700 here and then $2,000 here and this, and all of a sudden at the end of the year, you feel like they're scattered all over the place, where we've had these plans where we're getting a guide, a map, and an ad in 7 days that we're all kind of working collectively on. I think it could feel like there's a lot better return on investment for all of us.
You know, absolutely, and I'm so glad you said that, because it's all about planning and knowing what you're doing and thinking about things holistically. And not doing a scattergun thing that you do it 1 year and you don't do it the next year. Like, that's not the way to advertise. You do it effectively. My thing with this, did someone have something they want to say?
Yeah, I'd like to add in on the guide and just the cost of things as like complete advertisers and just where our budgets are. I'm sure we're all in similar boats where we didn't have our best year. I'm going to have to reduce my ad in the resort guide. And when you start to look through it, is there a way to simplify the production of that? Because that's a pretty big book and it has a lot of like repeated and unnecessary information. I don't know who's in charge of it, but when we start to look and total up exactly what that person is saying, it is a lot of our advertising dollars as individuals. And are there ways to streamline it? And are we really revamping and looking at things to be more in the modern age? And along those lines of what people are saying, if digital is so popular, are we having a streamlined social media endeavor? And those kind of things are my questions that are coming up after his comments.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, my background is with growth companies and with a lot of guerrilla marketing for low budget. And there's a lot of things that we're not doing that don't cost anything. Eric is going to know where I'm going with this one. But for example, social media. Why isn't everybody following everybody else in this valley? Why aren't we engaging? Why is Lawson's not following anybody here? If you go and you advertise on social media with an ad, it will go to your followers and their friends. It costs them absolutely nothing to follow our pages and because right now we have people coming in for strategic strikes. They're going to Mad River, they're going to Lawson's, they're going to whatever, and then they're not doing the rest because they're not aware we exist. The number of people, and partially because of how our town is laid out, you see the back of storefronts, we lack curb appeal. And so if the strategic strikes could make their followers aware that we exist, there's no money in that and it would help us all.
I mean, I worry, like, are they thinking they're gonna dilute their brands by following us? I don't understand.
No, I don't think that that's it. I think it's more a matter of just not being thoughtful. And entities like the chamber not hurting the cats. I need to do a better job of that, but it takes a lot of effort. I've tried. But it's like a shotgun, like I put it out in the email update where we have a 70% open rate. So I'm assuming people are reading it, but they don't do it. And so it's hard, and that's one of the reasons I'm really glad to get this group, and I'm so thrilled at how many people are here today. So that we can in the room say, hey, we need to be following each other and like looking each other in the eye and saying that and go out and freaking do it. Because it's, you know, I just keep like talking about it and I don't get any response, and then having
Tomorrow, Tomorrow, we are meeting at Barry Fisher Photo as the Mad River Valley Women in Business. I don't know the time of that. I can pull it up, but there is a meeting and the topic is social media.
Yeah.
I
know.
Can I get back to the seven, I love what you're
Yes.
saying, can I get back to the 7 days thing so that we can try to get something more going there?
Yes.
All right, I'm a kind of like a visual person, so we've got a big banner coming to the Mad River Valley, and we want people to come here.
Mhm.
And we're trying to get this message across, that there's so much here that they're not participating in and joining it. So there's gonna be 8 slots. Does 8 slots even represent?
No.
Like, so if, like, I think we need to almost create it as a larger, more all-encompassing thing instead of
The individual
where you're
businesses.
going with the individual blocks.
Kind of like Sugar Bush does at the back of the Valley Reporter each week, where
If we can rotate.
they spot, they pull.
I
They have like the concept
get
of.
that, I think, again, we wanna be consistent in that message. So rotating it,
Well, based on seasons, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense for Valley Mead and Blue Sage to take up 2 of those slots. And it's because it's not about coming to the valley for the week. I mean, it really is, but I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta piece it appropriately, I think.
yeah, but we also we want to give them the bigger picture
Mhm.
of, look at how much is actually here. Like, you're missing all of this. 8
Yeah, but I think
slots
that-
doesn't cover it.
I think it's important for us as businesses to get our brands out there, because like Anne Marie said, we're not a walking town, right? And so if there's not an ad that says the collection and here's what we have to offer, if we draw people into the Mad River Valley, but they're not going into Mad River Green and seeing your shop, like what's,
Okay, then maybe
where's that
what it
getting
should
you?
be is the neighborhoods. So then you've got 8 blocks of neighborhoods. Make sure you hit this area, make sure you hit this area, make sure you hit this area, make sure you hit this area.
You could have
And that's your block.
like a list of all the businesses and then maybe somewhere on it, like a QR code
Yeah.
that then has all of our businesses within
Yeah, QR code.
thing, and then it's bringing the cost down. Cause I'm very interested, but that price tag is tough.
Understood.
That's really tough.
Yeah, and then if you're like splitting costs with like this from.
Right, yeah,
All
and
of a
I-
sudden it's like.
Yeah, and
Marketing
if more than 8 can contribute by having all of our businesses and addresses maybe listed. But then like a easy like way to.
Like linking to
The
a
chamber.
page on the website
Yeah, that's specifically laid out.
with
for
links
that
to
ad. That's like-
Blockhouse.
Yeah, that like kind of is laid out as like, this is what that ad. was
Yeah, I mean, as
about.
Kristen Zakopan math, I think I saw on that, it's about $1,700 per full page ad per month. I count approximately 12 people here. I didn't raise my hand when you asked who was interested, because 3,900 for a quarter page
Not
ad
happening
didn't
yet.
feel great to me. But that would, if every one of us bought in, that's only $1,700 annually, right? That's less than half the cost, and so I think for me, that would be a much more attractive buy-in.
And I don't think it's just about the money. I think it's about the message.
No, I totally agree with you. Where I'm going in my head is logistically, how do I do this and herd those cats to make it
Yeah, no, I
happen?
understand. I'm just-
But I totally hear you, and I think, I think it was you that said the Sugar Bush example, and what they're doing, that was, that really hit home to me.
Yeah.
The back of the
But
Valley
we're
Reporter.
visual people, right? So like, give us an example and we can sort of follow it.
The back of the Valley Reporter, almost every week, I just unfortunately don't live long. There you go. So they do something like that.
Yeah.
Where, and
It's like.
they'll do the thing sometimes that is like, it looks like they put post-it notes on it, like, oh, don't forget to check out this and stuff like that. And they're not just covering Sugar Bush, because they've had us on there and didn't even tell us. It was a hell of a shock to us when we saw ourselves on the back.
Yeah, the
But they do
ultimate Sugar
that.
Bush gift giving guide, like is
Mm.
part of that half page, and it lists various different things, like.
So I think if you were to open that up to things in the Mad River Green, like one was saying, do it by districts, things in the Mad River Green, things in Warren, things in Moortown, things in Middlesex.
So
You
those
can
are
do-
your
you
8
can even
blocks.
do like a
if
valley-
you have to.
The valley flow with dry and, you know, highlight some of the roads in the background image.
Happening, man.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of like all the like recreation images, like maybe cartoon like of like the river and the mountains and the bike trails, like
Yeah.
almost like as a border. So that, like the recreation, like, yeah, the background is, yeah, we know you come for the recreation, but you're missing this. We've got all this to offer.
See, whereas I have to say, there are people, if we're going to be, inclusive, there are people who don't mountain bike and hike and ski. We still want them coming here. They are going, like, I just got through a craft fair. I mean, thousands of people who drove an hour and a half. That's their recreation. And I hesitate to reinforce that we're hiking, biking, skiing, because if you visually see that, a lot of people look at pictures before they read.
Okay, right.
And
Fair
so,
Well, that's why I was going with the roads.
Right.
Their third
Right.
biggest question is,
right,
where are the driving roads?
exactly,
Then let's show the driving roads and what there's to do on all of those driving roads.
right.
Like the 100 byway.
Okay, so how about if we take what we don't have and turn it into an opportunity? We don't have that whole big, long stretch of downtown or one square where everything is. So we make it take a ride. Take a ride to get here, take a ride to explore here.
Right.
That you wanna hit all of these different areas, because we are stretched out and we have these pockets.
But it's
And
beautiful.
you don't wanna miss anything.
It's a beautiful drive in between.
And you're imagining, like they said, the QR code for the
QR
square.
code, yeah, but-
Yeah.
Just links to your Mad River Valley shopping page.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just to shorten the bandwidth on thinking outside of the box and
Right.
recreating a whole nother wheel. I mean, that QR code links to everybody.
But I wanna
who's
give
the-
value to the people that are putting money into
That's
this.
what I was
Well, of
saying.
course,
I think
if you
it-
get
I think it should be
Like specific to who signed up.
specific to that ad and who paid.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know, it's like if you're talking about needing to increase the budget and you're giving things to businesses who aren't paying, whether it's sharing posts or including them in a listing that, and they haven't paid for the ad, I think it should be like, this QR code connects to a page specific to that, to what that ad. is.
Advertiser, yeah,
And
the
then that you
advertiser,
can
not the entire,
Like,
yeah.
here's a scenic drive you can take that includes all these areas, you know, so it's
Yeah,
not
featured retailers,
Yeah.
featured, yeah,
Correct.
it should,
That's a good option.
link
It's
to
generally
featured.
thinking, big spectrum, not just this ad, in marketing in general for the Mad River Valley, whether people join these meetings or join the co-op marketing, that QR code is what's going to help leaps and bounds, the things that don't cost any money, flyers at every festival and events that people come to, you know, shopping in the Mad River Valley, and boom, you know, this generation is so used to.
Right, but that
Is it-
ad could be printed as a flyer with
Yeah.
the QR code that gives you the scenic drive, that
Yeah.
connects all of this.
But also, is it something that instead of like trying to get people to pay into it, through things like this? What was your phrase? I know you said they're not dues, not fees, what are they?
Membership investments.
Membership investments. Could there be an add-on to the membership investments where it makes you part of this service? And then it's not just retail, it could include everybody that's in the chamber. And you widen that and therefore drop the price for all of us. And you only get,
Yeah.
you're only.
I get what you're saying, I'm trying to
You're
figure out.
only in the ad, you're only on the webpage if you've taken that addition.
I don't want to include the retail part of
Yeah.
somehow, I'm,
But I think, I mean, I agree with Spencer, I think that adding in restaurants, for example, I mean.
yeah, I
One
can see
of the top
restaurants, yeah.
questions we get from people
Yeah.
passing through
Where
is,
can I have
where
lunch?
can I get something to eat,
The
where
end
can I
of-
go to dinner, where
The
can I
end of
get
every
coffee?
class for
Yeah.
me is always a good place to get a sandwich.
Right.
If it's a lunchtime time, you know, where's good to go for dinner?
And we can also include picnicking. Get your sandwich at Huron's, go for a picnic.
No, get your cheese at the
But you guys don't do the. We want it all.
You're picnicking, you just need snacks.
I can tell you that when I would do the Middlebury Market, and people would say, oh, I don't shop there because there's no place to get lunch.
What?
It's just that they don't know this. Though.
Because,
They don't know.
because they want to sit down, now there's grab and row. But they don't want to grab a sandwich and pick, like, they want to go, ladies who do lunch, that's what we're talking about here. So,
And weekdays, there are very few places to go and eat lunch.
yes, like, okay, let's think, like, if your parents were here, okay, do they want to be eating from a food truck in a dirt parking lot?
But I don't
I
think
really
that your
don't think-
parents, I don't think anyone's parents are the only people we're trying to draw in here. We're trying to
No,
draw
I
in the
know.
ladies who lunch as well as the 25-year-olds from Burlington who want to
Agreed.
come and go to the dispensary and
But they're
go
all,
for a
they're
mountain
all
bike, I think.
eating at canteen, and,
When it's open.
aren't they,
I don't necessarily think if we're getting all of them, then we don't need to be doing this, right? I think it's wrong to target a specific clientele, whether it's the skiers or the ladies who lunch or whatever. I think the idea is to get out all of the Matter Valley has to offer, because what I have to offer, what Valley Mead has to offer, what the collection has to offer are all different and they have a different clientele. We want to just put it out of this is everything, not say all of you, ladies who lunch come and, shop.
No,
not say
I'm
not
not
to
saying,
drag it
yeah,
out.
I'm not saying specific, like when you guys used to do your lunch, when you used to, people, like the clients who used to eat lunch at the Taste Place. that's-
They don't shop with me
Or
because they don't have anywhere to cook. They don't shop with Valley Mead, right?
Right.
Those are not my customers, and that's okay. I still want them here to have lunch and shop with you guys, but I don't want to target those people. That's not where my advertising dollars.
And
goes.
often the skier is coming with the lady who lunches, so you're
Yes.
trying to give multiple, all
Right.
things to all people.
Exactly.
Although, I think we've sort of gotten off the
I
lunch
think
of
that
that, but.
reconvenes back into the whole message that there is something for everyone here.
Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And how do you let everybody know that there's something for everybody here? And not necessarily our tourists, our locals.
Right.
I also-
Why do we
How about
have
let
to
us
shop?
take you
People
for a ride?
complain about, I can't get this. Well, yeah, you can. Splinter sells fans.
Exactly.
Go to
Yeah.
Splinters and get sneakers for your kid for back to school. They're gonna probably have the better selections than going up to Burlington. And then it was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I never even would have thought that.
On this-
Why
on
not? You
this-
drive by it every
Going
day.
back to the
Sorry.
7 days.
No, I totally read this last week. I haven't been
With
here
the
in
7
months.
days
I didn't
thing.
know you existed. Like, come on.
2 years.
How often can we change
You
that?
don't wanna know how many.
And that's the thing.
Oh, I know, but yeah.
Spencer brings up a really good question. So we start getting into how often can you change this up? One of the reasons I was going the direction that I was going with it was that I get it done. And the problem with that is it's expensive.
Yeah.
The graphic artists are expensive, good ones.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna spend a lot of money,
Meeting right
factoring that in, and that's part of the chamber paying for that too. And that's where we start, when we start getting into doing, these more all-encompassing things. That puts the onus on me to make that harder, which is, I'm willing to do, but I wanna make sure that I
But I
can recoup it.
just, well, to be more specific on my question then. I didn't see anything in that text,
No,
but it's just on the thing that says you can change the ad.
You could change your ad. Oh, no, we could, I was imagining that we would change the umbrella,
Right.
on a monthly basis to tweak,
Yeah,
this is what's going on.
Yeah.
If you're having a winter thing.
Color.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but do you know that that's allowed?
Oh, of course. Oh, we can do whatever we want.
Okay,
Sorry,
I just wanted
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
wonder, Eric, if the idea would be for businesses, like I think about we're in the same plaza. Where it's like, okay, for us too, 12 ads is a big commitment. Maybe it's like you partner up with 1 or 2 people and it's 6 and 6, 4, 4 and 4. Because I like the idea of like this neighborhoods and so on, and obviously I think sending people around into other businesses where they may end up back at yours. But at the same time, the people sitting in the room here who are then gonna make a commitment, financially, of course, we wanna pull other people in as, members and so on. But it's cost for us and it's also limited space, right? So if we all went out and said, we wanna split this cost, let's get another 6 or 8 people. you know, we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and so I mean, I would kind of think that maybe that's a good idea, that
Yeah.
you.
It sounds like having been in a position like you're in of like, okay, like these ideas are amazing, but like, is this gonna be more hurting of cats for me? Like, I wonder if it's like, okay, each neighborhood, if there's like 3 or 4 people of a particular like shopping zone that want to like split ads out the year, like coordinating it amongst themselves and being like, here's the schedule, here's the art, here's when you need to invoice, you know, whoever or whatever, like, you know, it's like, even if like, okay, if we identify like there's 6 or 8 neighborhoods or like areas of focus that we want to draw people to specifically and try and have it that like every ad, there's a representation of that zone so that people are at least getting there. And then
No, and I
they
think
can
what's-
switch up.
And what's nice about that, from my perspective, is that that's getting the communication going within your neighborhood.
Yes,
And I've been talking neighborhoods for
Yeah,
a long
yeah,
time,
yeah.
and, you know, for like example, like Middlesex, you know, Sam up at the local is my one chamber member up there.
Right.
And I absolutely view Middlesex as an integral part. It's at the head of the Manitoba Byway. It's the gateway from the north to our community. Everyone's driving through there. I want to be talking more about what's going on in Middlesex, and if Sam can go to, you know, the filling station and to Red Hen and say, hey, we're gonna be doing this in Canby, generally, just, you know, all the events going on there. I think that would be a lot more useful and relevant than me going up there and selling advertising, which I don't wanna do.
Is there value though in thinking about all the different groups of people who come through here? Like-minded, you know, I'm not gonna drive somewhere for a mountain bike shop. But I am gonna drive somewhere for a farm store, or, you know, specialty grocery store, a wine and beer store, so. In retail categories, you've got people who come for crafts and handiwork, you have people come for, you know, fashion. People have different attractions, and if you keep sort of the messaging and then it rotates through categorically.
Yeah.
I really like that idea, and what I just wanna make sure that we go into this with expectations being realistic. You know, it drives me crazy when people say like, well, I'm not joining the chamber, like, how many hits did I get on my website and links? I'm like, that's not how you measure this. And by doing an ad and then saying, you know, Blue Sage is in there twice, you know, over the course of 12 months, that you got that mentioned twice. I think it's an unrealistic expectation that you're gonna be like, hey, wait a minute. How many people came in because of that ad?
Yeah.
And I think if you thought about it, and I'm not pointing at you, but if you thought about it, it's like, we're all in this together, we're all promoting it. The idea is to promote the whole community and have this rotation of, oh my God, like, what's going on in the valley this month? Oh, 5th quarter, you know, Blue Sage, a collection, and then, you know, the following, it's, you know, that takes place in, and Product Think Tank. It's like, oh, you know, and that diversity and that changeover, I think, is really appealing. And I think that might be a really good way to do it. I am not opposed to doing that, at all.
I think you could, sorry,
You go ahead.
but I think you could, what I was saying, like, the reason I liked the Sugar Bush one is that for a lot of time, they have like, it looks like somebody's fridge, and they run that same thing, and all they're doing is changing text.
So the template is done.
The template is done, so that minimizes the graphic design. We
Yeah,
get the
that's
graphic
kind of where I
design,
was going, that
and we
the
fill it in, like,
basic is.
these are the things that are going on, this, you know, pottery, you know, the Blockhouse is doing a special on this class and that kind of thing. Could be in those templates, and all you're changing is text, you're not changing graphics every time. I think also if we get too hung up on districts, it's gonna end up very Waitsfield focused, because there is a lot more in Waitsfield. And Middlesex and Warren will get ignored, because they do.
Well, especially.
and the things in between.
Yeah,
Right.
and Moortown and such, so.
There's confusion too around the, you know, if you start talking about Iraville, nobody knows, you know, so I think what a neighborhood is like, is Mad Rover in our neighborhood, it's, you know,
Yeah.
Bridge Street, it's only, you know, all this, but, before we go too far off, we were talking about the craft show. I think there's an opportunity where we're missing the things that people are coming to the Valley for that are not recreation. The open studios like takes me by surprise every year. And the craft fair that we just had with the Valley Players, like people flock for that to Kenyans. Full stop. Like they, you know, sometimes, oh, we came up here, we hear it, but like, we should be pulling from the things that people are driving an hour and a half for. And it's not gonna be solved by a 7 days ad, but I just didn't wanna miss that opportunity.
Yeah, and
to
there-
kind of,
and
like,
there's things-
mobilize us around some of those.
And there's things like the Norwich weekend.
Exactly,
You know?
that was the third thing, you know, and that's,
Well, with Green Mountain Stagers, do they shop here?
no.
And Norwich doesn't know because they're over.
Who's in charge?
We actually get a ton of Norwich
Lodging
weekend and
meet
homecoming
nowadays?
weekend.
What's that?
Food and beverage does, they,
Yeah.
we don't see that, they're so busy.
They're so busy with.
Well, it's
all
not
their
like-
events.
The Green Mountain
Yeah.
Stage Race, and I don't wanna like, I
No,
don't
and
know
that's-
anybody.
No, it's
Right,
one of
and
those
they're-
things,
they're-
like I said,
you know.
I wanna stay focused here, but it's a really good point, because that's the sort of stuff that at the chamber, the lodging people, we're talking about that stage race all the time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't impact things, those people are staying at short-term rental
It
places.
impacts the
That's
guests
what
that are
they're
already
doing.
here, so I find.
And, right,
Right.
and,
She's
and
not
and not
on that
positively
weekend
in a lot of
because
ways.
stage
That's
race.
exactly right, and all they do is come in and complain about the
Sorry,
traffic,
I went off
you know,
topic,
but
but-
those are.
But those are the kinds of things like. From my perspective, I'm always weighing, you know, what works and what's good and like, and what we're promoting and who we're promoting to. So it's really, you know, and what works for one business doesn't work for another business. And that's what, it's hard to do this kind of stuff. And that's why I try to make it more generic. And then when I make it more generic, people are like, I don't see the value in it. Because it doesn't impact, it doesn't benefit my business.
So one thing that does impact, and I brought this, I'm beating a dead horse here, is the fact that we don't know when the weddings are still. And I know you've gone out, but it's crazy that we don't know until.
They're every Saturday. Right.
Yeah,
To-
the end of October.
To the end of October,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not every venue's gonna have one every
Right.
Saturday, but I can guarantee you there is
Yes.
at least 6, hands down, every Saturday in
Yeah.
the wedding.
Yeah.
From 30 people to 200 people.
So how do we reach all the, like, should we be doing a welcome packet when people check in?
Well, that's our Mad River Valley Guide, you know, it's up to our ambassadors, we are all ambassadors here, whether we're a lodging facility, or we're a restaurant, or we're retail, to push the stuff that we already have in hand. Does every lodging facility have a rat card holder?
No.
And does every business have a rat card? That's like kind of no brainer, I know cost is a huge thing, but like,
But they
social
have to-
media
but
is
they have-
huge.
But they have to walk into your business for you to hand them that. What I'm saying is when they, like, so when they check into Sugar Rush, or they check into the White Horse, which has like 26 rooms, you know, is there something that we could say, you know, welcome to the Mad River Valley? We
Yeah,
hope you're
and
enjoying
that's like the QR code posters that we have. I'm trying to encourage our lodges to, you know, share like the itinerary builder. Which I wanna show you folks too, what we're doing with that. Those are the sorts of things that, this information's there. We gotta have them put it into their welcome packets and,
Right.
you know, and that kind of stuff.
I think
Absolutely.
that is also us as a retail group building relationships with the lodging places. I mean, this is unique to me, but I make a lot of bacon and breakfast sausages that are served at 1824 House at the Feather Bed Inn, Tucker Hill, and people eat those products and then they come into the store and say, I had this, I had that, and they're really excited about it, right? You know, I've been staying in other lodges elsewhere where, you know, the local potters or glass blowers will put a couple of things either that are on those tables or on display that you can see, and you say, oh, that's really gorgeous, I need to go see that store, right? You know, maybe it's a sweater or something that is on display, right? If we can build those relationships, I mean, I appreciate Eric for getting us all together, but I think some of that is this individual interplay between different businesses. that can work
I gave
together.
a whole bunch of classes to the lodging people, so Featherbed, West Hill.
Yeah.
And they came and took classes, and then they have the thing that they made. And they're like, oh, you can go down the road and make this.
Exactly.
Somebody admires it. So, but yeah, so that's taken, that's a slow process. It's taken us 5 years, 7 years to get that far.
Yeah, I think those things are always gonna be a slow build. I mean, we can put out rock cards, but you can't force people to come in.
And I know nobody wants to give discounts because like, we're trying to make money here, but there's, I mean, you know, when Valley Mead first opened, we went into every store. We gave discount cards to the staff and said, here's for, 21 and over, obviously. But, tell your customers, bartenders, you know what I mean? Like, get that word of mouth in a business where our advertising is so minimal. Like, we had to do some guerrilla marketing and then make partnerships with these people, to help, build that rapport.
Yeah.
Same with, lodging, like that, it's like you want your lodging people to know. So like, maybe it's like encourage them, do like a host night, like, come on in and, have a, I don't know, 5% off tonight, or, make it a fundraiser thing. So like, donations towards whatever. It's like, maybe you're not, giving them the discount, but you're raising funds for something locally in the community to help with that. So just some.
Just have a silly idea of like a retail and lodging, like speed dating. So that, it's like everybody here is so busy, it's like sometimes really hard to like carve time out to like hopefully catch the person who's running the inn and have a conversation.
I mean, that's something, I know a few of you have been up, we have a lodging meeting every week. And I've invited, folks to do that. I know Sam has been on this for sure. And they're very welcoming to have that, that kind of
Guys,
guy.
we need to go in the store.
Yeah, no, that would be a good thing.
Great, if you wanna keep in the conversation, but we just need to get.
No, totally understand.
Thank
We'll
you,
be back in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, this, I think is a good place to bring up, like, I tried to create an agenda, to keep things really timely, but I knew it was gonna be hard to keep
Retailers
things.
love Jell-O.
But it's gonna be really hard to keep the focus on this, and, for me, I really wanted to walk out of here with a plan on the 7 days end of it. And I have a lot more questions now than I have
Welcome to
answers.
retail.
But what I wanna be able to do is like, I don't wanna get to November and say, oh, people like, oh, we should be doing something for Christmas. I'm like, we need to be doing that yesterday.
Yeah.
And, so I'm trying, and I don't want to allow perfect to get in the way of good.
Yeah.
And, so there's a part of me that wants to kind of take into account some of the things that were said and go forward with this, because I think I can get 4 or 8 people to do it, and I know it might be too expensive for some of you, but that's okay. Exactly,
The whole issue is that it's a 12-month commitment,
right.
so
But-
it's like.
But it was 6 months, and maybe like Valley Mead does it 6 months and you guys do it 6 months, and make that kind of a commitment. Lawson's advertises like every other issue, they're doing a quarter-page ad. And what I wanna convince them is, isn't it better, I'm not asking you to spend any more money than you're already spending. Just put that in hours and help cover that, so that's 1 quarter I don't have to worry about.
Right.
So that's kind of back where
That's exactly what I was
where she is going with, like, be a part of something.
If you're already bringing people here, could you then get them disseminated to the other business?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm gonna distill down some of the notes about this, and try to get back out to you folks with, kind of another plan for this. And see, cause I mean, it seemed like there's some interest here, the way I presented it. And I'd like to I wanna get it done. I mean, we're in September. We're getting into this foliage, and I wanna get this thing done. And if I can get the people interested, I'd like to try to go forward with it and take it into account.
Are you
the things
locked
that you
into
said.
the layout of the
No.
quarter meet?
No.
Cause I mean, I really think that's the biggest inhibitor, and not just the cost, just reiterating what was already said about there's so many more businesses than 8, and if Lawson's takes a quarter, or anyone takes a quarter, then you're down to only seven, or
Mhm.
two people take the quarter.
You
you're
know,
get- I
if
mean,
somebody
you're-
takes a quarter,
and
you lose
that's-
two, every person takes a quarter, you lose
Yeah,
two.
you're getting one for, two, but then, you're just whittling it down to the businesses that already have the attention
Mhm.
Yeah,
and who can afford it.
But I'm gonna say like as a consumer, right, if I see something that is already attractive that I'm already interested in, and then I see the other things, it just builds the awareness.
Oh, I agree, but if there's only five
Or-
other things, when there's actually so much more and you're
That's
not
what-
being
Well,
made
that's what
aware.
they're done with.
Yeah.
But that's why I really
It's
like
not
like this sugar bush, like
Right.
copying the sugar bush thing, because I think if we did something that stays the same for more than a month at a time, it gets stagnant and people will just go past it.
Miranda,
So I
you-
kind of come up with an idea that honors everybody's thoughts here. Copying the sugar bush, why don't we do a full page Mad River Chamber ad? We have a QR code that links for everybody because technically everyone is paying if it's coming out of our investment in our dues. So that 25%, everybody who's a chamber member is contributing to it. And then we sell sponsorships where you can put your logo. And so it could be this ad is sponsored by Whipple Tree, by the local wine shop, by the VT collection, by the Waitsfield Farmers Market, and we have little logos. And then as a way to bring in specific concepts is we could rotate out and feature each business as a small portion of the ad. So we pay a graphic designer, make a beautiful branded Mad River Valley one-page ad, and then we are changing the text every week and we're featuring a different business. And then that's how we're getting it to a variety. You're making money by having people constantly as sponsors as a logo. It should bring that cost down from like $325 a month to maybe a few $100, depending if 12 of us did it that are sitting here today. We got restaurants in, maybe even lodging, but kind of steal that sugar push ad idea of cohesion, but then add in those pieces that highlight specific businesses. And I think the QR code is key to link it back to the chamber page, as well as push your social media. You need to build up that Mad River Valley Instagram.
Yes, for sure. I want to try to distill down what we've talked about. I'll be honest with you, my head is spinning a little bit. And it scares me. I'll be really honest with you, like I need to do that. But I want to do that. I think it's really, really important. Retail is so tough around here, and I have struggled for years trying to figure this out. Long before, even when I was at Mad River, that's scary. Like retail was hell, and it always has been. And I am just so heartened that we have this many people in the room and taking an interest. And I want to really help foster that. It seems like this is valuable, like just doing this, and that we can get together on a periodic basis, monthly or whatever. Do people want that?
I think so.
Okay, good. I'm thrilled about that. Just so you folks know that the email that I sent out like last night, retailers at Mad River Valley, that's a listserv. So if you're on that, you got that, you can post to it. So be really careful because it goes to everybody. So just be cognizant of that. So I've stepped my foot.
There's already a Facebook. Didn't you do a Facebook?
Please no.
Okay.
Please no. The last thing I need is another social media account to deal with. But that's a way for you all to communicate. The lodging people use it beautifully. When it's like, hey, I have a cancellation and I have an opening on this Saturday, we put it out there and they all respond.
Yeah.
And I want to foster that with the retailers. So just be aware that is what that is. But please, if you want to respond to me specifically or someone else specifically, just be careful what you write, because I've gotten myself into trouble bitching about people. So, you've been warned. And that's a good way to communicate in between meetings. I don't want to get into a lot of meetings. What I would really like this group to think about is everything can't fall on me. I cannot deal with it. I'm a one-person show, and after last night's thing, the annual meeting, I'm realizing I gotta get people, like on an asset, runs the Stand Up for Safety program. She's the one that heads that up. Samantha Saccone does the women's group. You know, Sean Kramer runs the lodging group. I really would like someone to step up here, or a couple of people to step up and be like the main, you know, leadership team for this. That was the last one I wanted.
I'll help, Eric.
I'm kidding. No, but if people are interested, just reach out to me and say like, hey, I'm really interested in doing this, and just kind of, so it's not just me leading retail, because I gotta tell you, I don't know anything about it. I really don't. I'm really good on the ski industry thing, but
should there be, would you like to volunteer? Shouldn't there be a retailer on the board?
there,
Because Mary.
I'm on the board.
Oh, you're on the board.
yeah.
Yeah.
Great, awesome. So you're basically our.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I don't have any. I think I am the only retailer on the board, so I don't have any problem.
He was, but not so much.
Oh, yeah, Mary, I'm sorry, but yeah.
No, that's
Sorry, my
it.
service.
In retail.
Yeah.
So, I will kind of constitute what we talked about 7 days, and get that back out to the group. And I'll send that out via email and kind of tweak that a little bit with some ideas, and make sure I'm on the same page.
For specific to the 7 days thing, to cut to the chase with all retailers. We're not making like a little survey, Google survey, it's so easy, and you could just say, are you interested in X, Y, or Z, you know, that might just help you.
Yeah.
Whatever, like,
I'm gonna partner with someone.
yeah, like, just
Like, you have
answer
somebody
these
that
10
mind that you
questions,
wanna
and
work with.
instead of relying on us to
Yep.
email back, and
Yeah.
then you've got everyone emailing you
You
all
wanna
these different
compile
thoughts, like,
it.
you just need these 10 answers,
Yeah.
or 5 answers, whatever.
That's a great idea.
Um,
Love that.
Okay,
Yeah.
You might get a lot of, your head might just spin more.
Yeah.
right.
People.
And I might just run it by before I, run it by you for a couple of you first, to make sure it's like I'm running along the same lines.
Because you're at a point where you don't need more ideas, you need like. what-
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I want,
Get it done.
and I want, this group to take their own leadership, and I view my role is to facilitate and to bring together and help develop those relationships. So, Aaron, I've got you on there. If others are
Yep.
interested, please let me know. Back to taking more of a leadership role. I don't want it to be an onerous thing. I want this to be a fun thing, and I think a lot of this is such, again, I keep going back to the lodging people. They interact so much that they're so tight, they're not competitive. That they're working together, they truly are working together. And they've developed these relationships that have helped them in these ways that they never imagined. Like my ice machine's broken, whatever, like they help one another out just so much. And I think that this is such a good model, and I really want to see retail do that. I want to see the restaurants do it, and that's the one that's going to be even way worse than the retailers. It's going to be brutal. But I see this as a great opportunity, and I see that there's momentum, and I want to keep it going, and I want there to be results. I don't want, to 6 months from now or a year from now, that I don't want this momentum to have stagnated, and I want this thing to actually be working, that it's valuable. We don't need to sit around in meetings that don't do us any good. I want us to start thinking about things like, the holidays. Like, it drives me crazy every year. We should be thinking about that now. There's all these events going on. People are doing stuff for the holidays. If you folks simply let me know and put the damn stuff on our calendar and let me know what's going on, that I can package this. This is what's going on during the holiday season in the Mad River Valley, that I can do blog posts, that I can do social media stuff that everyone supports and everyone follows, and that all of that stuff works together. It would be so much easier. And if you guys were meeting periodically, and again, you talk about the neighborhoods, and that those neighborhoods are working together, that Sam is talking to the right hand and talking to filling station. And they're saying, hey, this is Eric, this is what's going on here in Middlesex, like, I know that, but I can include it and not have to go begging for it. So. I think
What I was gonna
that's-
say too is with this whole ad campaign, I mean, we're already through summer, headed in the leaf peeping season, and my thought would be if, you know, if we can't boil it down quickly, before you know it, we're in sixth season, and then we're dragging our feet, and then it's great, you know what I mean? It's,
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to see that we kind of drill down quickly on it, and I mean, if it needs to change for next year, and we have much better ideas, and that's great.
Well, the thing is, how do you change it like from this month to next month, like?
That's why I don't want-
You got to hit the ground running with a commitment
Mhm.
for
And that's,
12.
and that's why I wanted, that's why I structured it the way that I structured it.
So, like, is there a way for you to go, okay, I need the 8 people to sign up at this amount
By this time.
by this time? And,
Working on the survey.
you know,
Yeah, and I would rather do that and do the survey and do it right and start in November, December, than,
Yeah.
you know, that's
Not
fine.
get it right.
Then not, yeah.
You need to figure out which direction you're going to.
Yeah.
Whether you're whole encompassing, or if you're, and then how many people are interested.
Yeah.
Or you can really decide what you're doing.
And then on top, and I don't know if you guys know this, but, when I do events, other places, Eric, you know this.
we have a traveling chamber of commerce.
I bring stacks of the discovery maps. And I say, oh, I have a shop and you should see what else, and I go through the whole thing and I pass out hundreds of those, you guys. It seems, well, yeah, I have passed out hundreds, it's probably only 100 this year, but, yeah, I just fly through those stacks. And pass it out.
And one of the other things I wanted to just bring up too is, I think it was you, Miranda, I think that brought up the resort guide. And just so everyone knows what the relationship is, and Tom Spencer just bought that from Jim Anderson, and he's getting that going. Years and years ago, in my previous life, when I was on the board of the chamber for 12 years, when I was at Mad River, there were separate, the chamber did its own publications. And we made a very conscious decision that we had a good publication. We didn't want to add advertising needs, you know, so we subsidized, the chamber subsidizes the resort guide. And if you notice on the third page of the resort guide, when you go in, there's a letter from me saying, hey, welcome to the Mad River Valley. So that is like our official piece. And it's funny, I had someone call up, a chamber member called up and said, you know, like, I wasn't in the Four Season guide, like, you know, I'm a member, and I'm like, it's separate things, you know, like, we're.
You still need to pay for your ads.
Right, it's like, but I was really surprised that they didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so we need to make sure that people realize that. But I think it's really, you know, with Tom taking that over, I think there's an opportunity for us to have a good conversation with him to see how is retail presented in this, and how is retail, oh, speak of the devil, Tom Spencer, here, come on in. So, you know, we're just talking about resort guides. And I think that this is an opportunity to have a conversation with Tom to talk about how retail is presented and how that the guide is used, and we talked about, you know, updating it for the future, so. So Tom, is it Tom Spencer? Tom, why don't you sit over there where they can maybe see you, because there's folks online.
Here's my time to duck out, I gotta go open.
Yeah, and I know we're
Eric's
getting there.
on, so he can fill me in on anything like that.
So, but I just want to introduce you, we're kind of winding down.
I'll get it back to
All right, good, thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you did it.
Thanks, Eric.
So, yeah, so I just wanted to introduce Tom. And I'm sure he's been going around speaking to a bunch of you already. But we've been talking about retail and advertising and.
Are they frozen?
I don't,
No, Miranda just.
Miranda's blinking.
So Miranda had some feedback about Tom's here. who just bought the guide, and Miranda had some feedback about perhaps a way to make the guide more financially viable for more people. Would that be?
Yeah, it does seem like the cost is a high factor. We all have shared that, our advertising dollars are not as much as they were in the past, especially I'm from the Waitsfield Farmers Market. And I know that we'll have to reduce our ad based on the cost because, I mean, even the offer that Eric's bringing is 12 months and 7 days, which has a larger distribution, and that's at about like 65%. Your one quarter page ad price is the same as 65% of his quarter page ad price. So it I was wondering if there was ways that we can reduce the content and maybe not print in such a bounded way, and it could be cheaper for more people to be in it. Because I know we're in there like 27 times, which seems like a great idea, but when it is increasing the cost of the publication, I don't know how effective that is.
Well, I think that it certainly doesn't increase, adding you in multiple times does not really increase the cost of the guide at all. And we think it's a pretty effective way to get the word out more. We are going to get rid of the bind this year because it kind of screwed up the center. Once again, that doesn't unfortunately decrease the cost either, a significant amount anyway. We have been, granted, I just took the business over, so I can't tell you exactly how many years it's been, but June and Wendell did a phenomenal job keeping costs low. I'm very, very impressed with their business structure. And it's been, I don't know how many years since there actually has been an increase in pricing, and we elected again this year based upon your concerns exactly, is once again, we did not take a rate increase. So, with the cost of inflation and publishing and transportation costs have gone up substantially over the years. June and Wendell have worked hard, and I believe in maintaining this to keep the costs as low as possible, and by not taking that rate increase. So once again, you'll notice we took no rate increase this year at all. So we're working on it, and I'm a little bit too new to to say too much intelligent about reducing costs and content and cost. But we are very aware of what's going on out there, and hearing this, because we do have 4 guides. Not everyone's not the only one that we do. So we are hearing similar comments from other people. So we'll certainly take a look at that, take that into consideration, and I'd love to hear more about this other opportunity because I don't know much about it.
Miranda, are you suggesting that they maybe shrink down the editorial content? Just to be a little clearer, my interpretation from what you were saying was you want to see less editorial content so they don't need as many pages, and
that was my thinking, because I was imagining that the bind was the expensive part.
Sorry, say that again, Miranda?
That was my thinking, because the larger the guide is, the binding is the expensive part of production, was my thinking. So if we cut down on editorial, it would get the same information out there for a lower cost. But I'm not an industry expert, so maybe that's not the case. But yes, Yvonne, that is what I was saying.
It's really not the case. In fact, it's of the 4 guides, this one, frankly, I think has the least amount of content in it, as you're explaining. So we were actually funny. I'm glad we're having this conversation, because we're looking at expanding it. You'd be surprised that it really does not impact the cost significantly, because even if we got rid of some, you got to do it in 8-page increments. If we drop back, we'd have to drop back 8 pages, which would be a lot of content, and the savings would be insignificant. It wouldn't be worth it to do that, is my point. In fact, we're thinking going the opposite way and adding more meaningful content in it to, the Matador guide specifically. It's been hard to get everything in there because it is a popular guide. So we're looking at that. If you look at some of the other guides, the Adirondacks, which I think is a great guide, we're kind of trying to move in that direction slightly, although we don't want to change too much, because the feedback I've gotten so far has been so positive from the community that it's kind of been overwhelming. So I'm looking to change as little as possible because it seems quite popular.
I wonder if I'm looking at what other places do, like Woodstock and Stowe, because numerous of people here are advertising those as well. Would it be better if we had something that changed through the year rather than just having the guide for a year? So we do more of a magazine than just the guide.
Well, it would increase costs.
That would increase costs substantially. And it's funny, there's been a lot of feedback on that, including this morning up at Sugar Bush, that a lot of people do compare our guide to Stowe. And maybe people are telling me what I want to hear. I know that's always possible, but people love the size of the guide. So I think we'd like to stick with that because people say it's more comfortable to carry. How many people have said you can put it in your car door and take it with you, as opposed to a big fancy looking magazine? It's beautiful. What Stowe did is beautiful. And I will just say one other thing on that is I have short-term rentals, and I used to put the old Sugar Bush guide out for my renters, and I put the Mad River guide on top. And at the end of every month, after I cycled through a few, I'd have to replace, this is before I had any idea I was ever gonna own it, I would have to replace the Mad River guide because it would get so worn out, it looked old, and I didn't want it to look old. The Sugar Bush guides never got touched. They would last all season, and no one would flip those things open. But the Mad River guide would be tattered after a month, which is the other reason I don't wanna change it that much, because it's effective.
I mean, I think the cost isn't bad in comparison, because like, Ryan was talking about the cost of that versus the quarter page and you're at. People grab the 7 days and then it's fire starter, whereas like that, so you're paying a lot of money.
Literally.
Whereas the guide, you print it once and really, I mean, I see it as tourists use it, like tourists get to me, but I own a block house, by the way. And using that, and especially like, and I like and I'm not telling you to go here.
No.
I like showing up in different sections, because we show up for things for kids to do.
Yeah.
Whereas someone who's just looking for things for kids to do, if I was just like in the retail, whatever,
They may not
shopping,
even notice it.
they might not see it,
Yeah.
so. I actually see that I don't spend a lot on advertising, I don't advertise everywhere, my advertising budget is very small, that's the one thing that and the map, discovering map. So, cause yes, I see that as like, you pay for it once, but it's new to somebody every week, cause we get tourists every week,
Yeah.
whereas.
You said something, Pam,
Run.
that.
Have to run, but
Take
I'll
care,
look
yeah,
for-
I want to wrap this up, because I
Yeah.
know we're going over,
Everybody.
take care of yourself. You said something. That, like, I don't spend a lot on advertising, and,
I mean, I do.
I am so glad that you said that, because. Again, as I prefaced this earlier, I said, I'm a marketing guy, that's what I do. And every year for 24 years at Mad River Glen, I unilaterally, every year, cut my marketing budget to see if it ever mattered. And it never did. And because I wanted, I always took the money from advertising and I put it into experience.
Yeah.
And that proved really valuable to me. I think the value here is these discussions and talking about the things that we're talking about and working on the experience here in the valley. And this is not a one-shot deal. This is something we need to do as a community over and over and over for years and years and years, and develop the relationships and talk about what it is that makes this makes this community unique. That would never, ever come through in an ad, ever, no matter how good we did it. That it's developing these relationships and developing the relationships with the lodging people and the restaurant people and the retail people. And that everyone's talking, that we're using our community calendar, that we're using our website, that we use the resort guide, which is a valuable printed resource, that we use that in the best way that we can to talk about the experiences. That's where I think we should be putting our effort. I don't want to get into, I'm using the 7 days thing as a vehicle to bring us together. And I see that as more important almost than the advertising itself. And whether there's a 8-page blockhouse ad, I would never in a million years say, Pam, that's a great idea. That's going to be great ROI for you. Because I don't believe that it will be. But I do think that by doing it over time, over years and years and years, that we raised the profile of our community generally, and that hopefully someone will go to take a lesson there, someone will go buy some weed, someone will go buy some, the pillow, or a toy or whatever, and then someone walks into your shop or takes a lesson at Salt and Sand. Like, that's where I really take to heart what you said, because I don't believe in advertising that much either. I don't think people are looking at that and saying like, oh, I'm gonna go to Product Think Tank because I saw that there. It reinforces what they maybe have already heard, like, oh, I've heard about that place, that place is really
I know
cool.
I don't look at all the little tiny ads in 7 days. I look at 7 days all the time. I don't go through all the little tiny ads, which is part of why I think talking about us doing an ad, having the one big, the full page ads with a good graphic picture ad. And then it's like, but having a whole bunch of little 8-page ads,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like something that's graphic.
And if
and-
we're gonna make it so that Eric doesn't lose his mind with a graphic designer,
Right.
getting one that
No,
can
but
be
one
easy to
that can be
change.
easy to change out. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, I think that would be more valuable than a
Creating a template, an
Okay.
overall
8 page.
template.
818.
So, yeah, I'm gonna put together this questionnaire and really try to get that out, and I think that's gonna be a good way to, again, bring this group together. One of the things I'll include in there is, how often you wanna meet and get together. Anyone have any thoughts on that at this point, that they want to express?
I think something monthly and.
Oh, we
you
prob-
Do a second, like, do it just
As
digital.
needed?
Yeah, do it just digital, so people don't have to
Mhm.
come. It's easier to, be in your office or wherever. And
And
Absolutely.
what was the link you were referring to that we can all communicate through?
Oh, it's retailers@medrivervalley.com is the email.
Okay.
So that's the email.
To that email.
Hey, Eric.
You think you're just.
I-
gonna-
Yeah,
So like, what I think would be really, really cool is to do something, and again, I'm not trying to prolong the discussion today. I think it would be great to have like a target group where you do like a weekly meeting, and then maybe there's a like, I don't want to create more boards and that kind of thing, but if there's a bi-weekly meeting as we're getting started to get the momentum going, and then we can have monthly for people who can't make bi-weekly update kind of a thing. Because what would be really cool that I see is kind of like having once every 2 months or whatever, a representative of each of the committees, like when you get the restaurant one going and the lodging one and the retail one, and then you can kind of get together and say, hey, we can do this and that can support that. Like we started targeting like staycations in Burlington with Madbush Falls, and we booked 14 rooms for one silly little night. And we can link all that stuff together with the retail as well. When we do like those, like I said, we call them like staycations, where we have a flyer that goes in everybody's room that's like, here's the businesses in the valley that you could check out. And so I like the idea of having the meeting maybe bi-weekly as we get going until we get into some kind of like rhythm. If we do it monthly, I just know myself and I'll just kind of get distracted by the 8 million other things I have going on. But that's just my feeling. I don't have any problem volunteering my time for that. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I just get concerned about having the same conversation 6 months from now that you said, which is okay, we've had 6 meetings and we haven't really done much. I'd rather do bi-weekly. That's just my feeling. To really make this like an impactful thing. But again, that's just my opinion. And I'm happy to do whatever needs to be done.
no, that's great, and I think, I'm gonna try to distill this down and get this, kind of the results of this out to the rest of the group. And disseminate that and I'm gonna ask a few of you, to take a look at a sample, survey to say if I'm heading in the right direction based on our conversation, and we'll keep this going. And one of the things I'd like to ask is, as you folks start talking to your colleagues within the retail community or in your neighborhoods, like if you can just help spread the word about this and talk about you know, what's going on so that they're aware of it and think about this from a neighborhood perspective. And also, please think about the holidays, like, let me know what's going on. And what I'm hoping, I think the easiest thing is in each neighborhood, if you can say, hey, this is what we have going on, and just let me know, so I can put together a package, and package up, this is what's happening in the Mad River Valley for the holiday season, that I can write a blog post about it,
You
that I
can
can.
also, and then make sure everyone else knows that, cause I thought the walkabout last year was great. I didn't know about it till like the week it was happening.
Right.
We did participate, but I didn't even know that was happening.
Right.
Ryan.
And yeah, it
Thanks,
was,
Ryan.
yes, thank you, Ryan. But, you know, it's, you have it easy, I mean, yes, we can all use the retailer's email, I guess,
Yep.
but just to make sure, if somebody comes up with an idea like that, we all can jump in
Yep.
on it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's a question. Erin, do you have access to, being able to Zoom with other retail, like, we need somebody at the head that has a Zoom account
Yeah, I mean, you can always use mine, that's fine, that's easy.
so that we can get together, because we are individual proprietors, like, you know, the innkeepers don't always have to be right.
Yeah.
They're not always receiving.
I have a Zoom account and I'm happy to coordinate that. And Eric, I'm happy to do agendas and notes and stuff like that too.
Right.
So you don't have to do everything. But yeah, I can definitely do that so people don't need to be there. I wish I were there today, but I have other things that I have to attend to this morning. But I have no problem doing that at all.
So that if we can, if we can get that bi-weekly started, Aaron, with you.
Yep.
Getting a Zoom out to that at the retailers.
Yep.
So that we can all jump in and maybe you find a few key people that you know will be at the first one.
Mhm.
So that we can.
Are we talking about that strictly being Zoom or no?
Not
Being like in
necessarily,
person?
but I
Okay.
think
Doing
Zoom makes
that,
it
yeah.
more accessible for more of the retailers.
Yeah.
I ironically, since I am the one on Zoom, I prefer in-person meeting.
And do a meeting.
Yeah. No, that sounds good.
I generally moving forward will be, I will be in person moving forward. This is a rare case. I prefer in person, but I totally agree. Being able to Zoom in is a really, really great option. I also think it would be really cool, Eric, if we started doing, if we got the retail group together and started doing like a retail mixer, similar to what you've done, with like the other groups, just to have all the retailers get together, have a cocktail, shoot the crap, and like, you know, in a slightly different environment where the guards are down and it's like, oh, you're doing that, we're, you know, just in a slightly more social setting. I know we see people in a lot of the events and I don't want to like duplicate things. I'm just, that's kind of like, there's a lot of retailers who I don't know. As we get going, it would be great to meet everybody, and you know, everybody has a name and a face and contact information if they have ideas, and you know, just kind of provide more of a support system for each other. I've been to a couple of the lodging meetings and it's really cool. And it would be neat to have something like that for what we do.
Yeah. No, and I think the other thing too is I think this hybrid seems like it's actually working. And we can do these things. This, you know, please know that this space is available to everyone. That's the whole idea behind this welcome center. And I'm glad that you're getting here, because I know a lot of you have been in here, and I want to show you around a little bit too and what we're up to. But we can do these hybrids. We have the technology to do it pretty well here. So yeah. All right, well, I want to wrap this up because I know people have places to go and businesses to open up, and I really appreciate everyone coming. I was, like I said, I really wanted.
Read your head spin.
No, that's okay. I mean, I sort of half expected it, and that's why I tried to do my retentive agenda for whatever it's worth. But I'm just so appreciative of the energy. So we'll be in touch and you'll be hearing from me. So thanks everyone for coming. Thanks, Sam and Brian and Miranda. Thank you. And
Aaron, our new fearless leader.
Thank you, Aaron.
So, and what I'd like to do, so you have not been here before? You have not, you have not. What's that? Oh, yeah. Take care, folks. Um. Currently not.